Oh, that's fatal. Have you heard anything like that on a living person?
Not on a living person, no.
No, I didn't
like
think
a lung
so.
coming up. Yeah.
Dude, it's Thursday night already. Where did the week go?
Yeah, it's well on the way, isn't it? Well on the way to over.
Well, yeah. I mean, 2 more hours, and it'll be since the last time we did this.
Yes.
You know, the end of it.
Well, the end of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Oh, here we go. People rolling in. Eric's Garage. What's happening? Bill, Dickie Farley, Joe K. You want to say anything?
Dustin Lang. Hey, we're live. Yes, we are.
Yes. Peter Kovacs, Jesse Zankowski. What's happening, man? James Elliott, Jason Fitch, The Formula. Unfinished Project, Jace Russell Finch. Gordon.
Unfinished Project. Are you a Kiwi? You got a little kiwi fruit there. Are you actually a Kiwi?
Who's got a kiwi fruit?
Oh, yeah. See,
oh,
Unfinished Project. He's got the kiwi there.
He likes you. That's a tribute to you,
well,
bro.
Hopefully. I'm just wondering if he's actually a Kiwi.
No.
No? Okay.
No, it's only like 60 when you're already accounted for. Okay. So, tonight you're giving away a pony? Was that what it was?
Elephant.
Best question.
Elephant tonight.
Come on, don't joke around. This is serious business. You know, it's false advertising. You don't want to we're not grifters, okay?
No, well, true. Yeah.
So yeah, a pony. And,
a pony.
Yeah.
Miniature pony, big pony.
A pony, man, a pony, a nice one, a nice one. You know, this
like
is
my little
this is
pony
Tennessee.
with the long mane and.
That's okay. That's yeah.
Well, they hang around under rainbows too, don't they? The My Little Pony.
You know, I used to like rainbows. It was like that Ford Raptor commercial. You see the Ford Raptor commercial where they got this like a black Raptor and then they're going through the mud, they're racing through the mud and stuff like that.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen this? This was like a couple of weeks ago, right? So they're racing through the mud, you know what I mean? And they're all covered in dirt, like they're all like they're just blasting through. And then they go through this puddle. When they go through the puddle, all the mud gets washed off. And the one truck is black, and the other one is like rainbow color, right? And I was like, damn, that's a nice paint job. I like that. Oh, wait. You got to be careful anymore. You got to be careful.
Fubar's already here.
Fubar is here. Fubar is everywhere. Fubar is omnipresent.
Omnipresent?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Fubar is everywhere.
And Unfinished Projects, you're an honorary Kiwi. Wow, that's not many people get that honour bestowed upon them. Peter Kovacs, do kiwi fruit come from New Zealand? Yes, they do. It was actually originally called a Chinese gooseberry, believe it or not.
A gooseberry.
Gooseberry. You have to say that with the Kiwi accent, though.
With a Z.
Well, it's just like gooseberry.
Is it gooseberry?
It's like gooseberry.
But you say it with a Z.
We say
gooseberry.
Yeah. And and then they grew like wildfire in New Zealand, and New Zealand sort of coined the phrase kiwi fruit, and the rest is history.
There you go. Mopar Magazine. What about Mopar Magazine? Oh, Classic Auto Garage. You had a Mopar Magazine. It worked for Dave's Totally Auto, who was involved with more magazines. I started 2 of them. I started High Performance Mopar in 1986, and then in 1988, I started Mopar Action. And Mopar Action is actually still around.
Guy Billington, best way to attack early 60s Ford wiring. Well, a replacement loom is not a bad way to start, but I'm guessing that's not the road you want to go down. Having a nightmare with brake lights and tail lights. Honestly, I'll tell you what I tell quite a few people, that whenever we have cars come in with electrical problems, we don't try and use that for shaving as well.
I know, I couldn't find my lighter.
Oh, okay. As I was saying, yes, before we start diagnosing or anything like that, we just go through and clean all the grounds on everything and make sure the engine hasn't, you've got a ground from your battery to your engine and from your engine to the chassis. That's really important. Typically, when we do that, 75% of the problems go away. And then, which just cuts down the mystery options. So, and then start working through it. The brake lights, a little... For me, were a little bit tricky when I first encountered the American system, because the American cars use the brake lights and the turn signal. It's the same bulb.
The same switch.
The
1157
the Europeans and the New Zealand and the Kiwi, the Australian cars have a separate turn signal bulb. So the brake, probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's trying to get a job at O'Reilly's, but they won't.
They won't
accept him.
hire me because of my
No.
record.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't mind. Eric Matilli, Tony, ever been to Cecil County? Yes, many times. Many times.
World's Fastest Indian favorite. Yeah, that's an excellent movie. Everybody should watch that. Anybody who's into anything, you don't have to be into bikes to be to appreciate that movie. It's great.
Why don't you become the world's fastest Kiwi?
Yeah, well, I have to find something fast, wouldn't I?
Dude, we could strap a rocket to nearly anything and just send you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, there's Dave, Mrs. Kiwi would love to do that.
She'd light the fuse, bro.
She
I can
would.
see it already.
She would. She'd take that little burner, that afterburner of yours, and just.
Chongo is 68. Great name, man. I like that. Let's see. Charlie Quillen, has you seen the Beast Merlin powered car? Yeah, we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Where's Uncle Mrs. Kiwi? Actually, she's at a Pilates class.
A Pilates
Pilates
class.
class.
Wow,
She's
nice.
trying to stay fit, to keep up with me.
Yes.
Because of my fine physique. She's got standards to live up to.
And your giant head. giant head.
Yes. So she'll be along soon. I think her class finishes in half an hour or something. So.
Mike Vogel, hey Tony, found another hater for you, Jason Light. Yeah, he's really not good at it. He's like such a low IQ guy. I mean, at least like I have like Mopars or everything. He seems intelligent, but he's like deranged. He's a good troll. Jason Lee is like he's like a piss stain. There's really nothing there.
Don't hold back, Tony. Tell us how you really feel.
What?
Jet cars melting, junk cars in the pits.
Oh, dude.
You were there.
Yeah.
That must have been cool.
Union Grove early 90s. Dude, I ran every race there. Every time I hit Nitro in the early 90s, or in mid 90s, I was at Union Grove. We were there for not the Olympics, the Olympics drag racing. Yeah, the Olympics. And then what was the other one they had at Cordova? Because we ran that one also. But yeah, every time I booked the Nitro cars at Union Grove for from 1990 to 1996, 1997, I was there. That was like my home track for a while.
John M. Kiwi, that mystery machine had the smallest drive shaft ever. I'd have to agree with that. I don't think I've seen thicker half shafts than that. Yeah, it was little tiny. Did you see
No,
that
what are you
video?
talking about?
Oh, we got that Falcon club wagon or Falcon van in
I
the
love
shop,
that
and I
thing.
just posted a video at the beginning of the week, and we were underneath it and just looking at the drive shaft, and it's maybe 1.25 inches in
Yeah,
diameter.
I believe it.
It's tiny, but it was like 85 or 90 horsepower engine.
Yeah. And what could that thing weigh? Like 2,800 pounds?
Yeah.
It's just a box.
Yeah.
There's nothing
It's just
in
a tin box. Yeah.
Regis Philbin Scrotum sent me $20. That is awesome. Thank you. Just popping in for a minute to say thanks for the Garage 54 recommendation. Right? Aren't those guys great? Those guys are hilariously awesome. Here's some Fulton money, Kiwi. Don't you all have some kind of gigantic crickets in Oz? You have gigantic crickets?
In New Zealand, we have what's called a weta, which is kind of looks like a W-E-T-A, weta.
A weta. Okay.
And it looks like like a giant cricket that's come out of a horror movie.
Yeah, who would want to?
But they're about I don't know. They get to be a good 4 inches long with a big stinger on the back of it, and it's like.
Generally, I let bugs go.
They're
trying to struggle through life the same way that I am. Just ahead, go on your way.
Yeah.
But that I would shoot.
Yeah, well, the weta's protted, so you don't.
I'd shoot it anyway.
Okay.
I'm just not going to deal with it.
Yeah, it's big, and I mean, it's certainly a good way to get the women moving very fast. They scream and just head west.
I like that. I like when they scream and run. I don't know why that is. I don't. It's a very primal thing. I just like when they scream and run.
Most guys do actually.
Yeah.
Like that. Australia has the cane toad.
Dude, it's only 28 likes. I think that's reflecting on your popularity.
There you go.
It's slipping. It's slipping. There's no love for the Kiwi. What's Zonda? What's happening? Dean Stevens says, nah, they are large, but not that large, and they don't sting, just look fierce. I'm not taking my chances.
But, hey, Dean, I thought they got up to about, I'm sure they get up to about 4 inches long. But, hey, it's been a while.
All right, we need some serious tech questions. Here now.
Kiwi, any luck finding a barrow motor? No, I have not. I got hold of one company and they've got various components. They've got the engines, they've got various oil pans, they've got a transmission here and a shifter that out of something else. And what I'm really looking for is like a complete lift out, like just this can unplug the wires, lift it out, send it to me. Because I'm not familiar enough with the barrows and the different transmissions to start trying to mix and match. Like I don't know that the 93 transmission will fit the 96
Oh
barrow.
yeah, it's all crazy stuff.
I don't know that stuff, and that might, but I don't know whether it does. And I'm too far away to be trying to figure that stuff out. Most of our parts, Kiwi, do you prefer dry or aerosol guide coat?
That's Ron Ward. That's the guy who's like your doppelganger, your guy Steve doppelganger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not I'd probably prefer either the dry rather than the aerosol. It's just a little bit easier and quicker to get on. The other thing I do use at times is you have a black water-based primer, which is used in some of the collision shops, and that actually makes a really good guide coat. You can just like hold your gun 4 feet away and kind of just wave it around the car, and the little droplets just come out and drop on, and they dry like that because it's water-based. It just evaporates off and it's done, and it doesn't clog. It doesn't do any of that stuff. So. But that comes in gallon cans, which is a lot of guide coat for a home workshop warrior.
James Doyle, that's a good question. What do you think of new cars being hard to repair because of proprietary ECU programming? The right to repair is the law mechanics are fighting for. The right to repair thing's been going on for a long time. I follow Louis Rossman, who's the guy as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you ask me, it's vile. You know what I mean? I will not work on something. I will not own something I can't work on. Unlike Kiwi. You own stuff that nobody on earth could work on.
Well, yeah.
But no, it's vile. It's absolutely vile, and it just goes to show you how our country, our people have degraded so much, or they're just used to being abused. It's just like, here, bend me over, just bend me over, and they just keep making things more complicated and more difficult and more unobtainable to repair on your own and more disposable. And we deserve, as a people, we deserve what we get.
So, I mean, it sounds like a lot of you guys know about this law, but I really don't. This right to repair is the law. What's that about?
Okay, there are certain companies. It really started with John Deere. That was the big thing, right?
Okay.
Where they were making their stuff with proprietary. So in other words, like you're a mechanic and you need to plug into their computer to find out the diagnostic codes.
Right.
Well, they made that impossible. Right. So you can't repair the stuff yourself. It has to go back to the dealer.
Right.
So they've been doing this for a long time now, but it's getting more and more and more. And there's a whole right to repair movement. And this guy, Louis Rossman, I don't know if he started it, but he's a big proponent of it. But yeah, that's what that's all about. It's like if it's like, let's say you want to, let's just say you got an ABS light on your car, right? So you decide, I'm going to change the pads, right? Whatever it happens to be. So you do that and you fix the problem. You find the problem, you fix the problem, but you can't turn the light off. And because you can't turn the light off, the computer is always in some sort of trauma mode.
Yeah, and if you've got emissions, they're gonna ping you on there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
Scar One, what's happening? Fubar just put up the link to my merch, which look, I'm not wearing my merch today. I just realized I look at myself there on the thing. And
you got the hat.
I do have my hat, yes.
He wears that so he doesn't forget who he is.
That's right.
He can just quickly check in the mirror and go, oh shit.
I wear this so I don't have to comb the few strands of hair I have left.
Who wants? Shall we? No, you get upset.
Clayton's Toolbox. Tony, how many horsepower can a Carter P600 or P4600 or P4070 support, i.e. 3 at the line? Even a 600, I don't know those numbers.
No.
Oh, okay, wait. The P4600 is a 50-gallon per hour pump. I mean, a 50-gallon per hour pump is going to support 550, 600 horsepower.
King Stevenson, fuel injection sucks. Good fuel injection is good. Cheap fuel injection is not good.
Charlotte calling wants to know, does Mr. Kiwi say hood or bonnet, trunk, or boot? Boot. You say boot, right?
Well, I've had to learn, like in New Zealand, yes, we say bonnet, that's the hood. We say trunk, which is, or boot, which is the trunk, yeah. Like deck lid is not something you say in New Zealand. It's the
Dick lid? I don't say
Deck.
that anywhere, bro.
Deck.
This is polite.
Deck, D-E-C-K, the
Oh,
deck lid.
Deck lid. Okay. Jeez.
Well, you're going to get us demonetized if you.
Yeah, I thought for a minute,
come
community standards, I was like, oh, jeez.
So I've converted to all the American colloquialisms, you know, as far as, you know, like it's a front fender in New Zealand, it's a front guard, and you know, or a back guard, which is a rear quarter here. You know, but you start talking like that with customers that come in the door and they're like, what? Door's common. Chief Foxworthy said he has a big dick. Good to know.
Clayton's Toolbox. What is a good donor car to find a 5-bolt Dana 60? You're not. The only 5-bolt Dana 60s you're going to find in cars were the ones that Chrysler used. 66 to 72. You can find 5-lug Ford truck Dana 60s right through the 70s, like right up until like I don't know, I couldn't tell you the cutoff years, like sometime around 1980, give or take, right? Those are 5-lug, but they're wide. They're not going, they're going to be narrowed. But they're 5 on 4.5, so it is a Mopar bolt pattern. But there is no quick, easy 5-bolt Dana swap. Uh-oh, it froze. See, this whole thing with the dick lid had people. Oh, okay. 78 F-150 definitely has 5-lug Dana 60. Yeah, I figured it went someplace to that range, like give or take 1980.
Dean Stevenson, put 5 on the fender, Kiwi, LOL. 5 on the fender. Okay, you lost me there, but
that's a Kiwi saying, isn't it? 5 on the fender. Isn't that how you like you know? Hey mate, give me 5 on the fender.
Not never heard that one before.
Oh, okay, all right. But Dean Stevenson.
I led a sheltered line.
Yeah, that's street language for sure. Do they have hoods?
Spread eagle. Oh, I get it, Dean. I get it.
Do they? Oh, 5 on the fender.
Yeah,
or
right.
10 on the fender.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, how many arms?
Depends how far.
Depends
how far you can count.
Do they have hoods in Kiwi in Australia, in New Zealand?
Oh, like what do you mean? Like a bonnet hood or like a hoodlum?
Hoodlum, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Everywhere has bad people.
Charlotte wants to know, did Mr. Kiwi have any relatives in the war? Maybe a coast watcher.
Mostly. Oh, sorry. What? I was reading the one above it. What was that? What?
Wants to know if you had any relatives in the war. Maybe a coast watcher.
My grandfather was in. You know, he was kicking around when the war was on. He actually worked at. He was a crane operator at one of the airports, or airfields, I guess they called them back then. And you know, he would, when the planes limped back in and kind of belly flopped and did that sort of thing, that was I mean, he was the one that had to lift them up and clear the runways and stuff like that. So that's yeah, it wasn't hands-on stuff, but yeah, it was. I'm sure it was a little bit nerve-wracking lifting up a. He did tell me about once they had a bomber come back in and it was shot and damaged and they couldn't drop their bombs and they had to belly land it.
That must have been an interesting moment.
Yeah, and then he had to lift it up, like to clear it.
Okay.
Hoping that it wouldn't drop its load, so to speak.
My grandfather on my mother's side was in Normandy, but he never talked about any of that stuff.
Now here's most of the old parts. This is our doppelganger, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of stress and aggravation did you have to deal with converting from the archaic metric system to the more accepted and appreciated SAE?
That's a good question. Very well put, Ron.
Archaic, that's an interesting term for it. It's not quite how I would have explained it. I've had to turn my back on the metric system because that's absolutely what I was used to. Everything was in meters and centimeters, and go back to the SAE
well, the metric system.
And obviously, honestly, I would much rather have the metric. I don't think it's archaic. It's very. People say it's so complicated, and it's not. My answer to that is always, can you count to 10? Right.
Well, that's the thing. It's for simple people. You know, the metric system.
Yeah,
you know, it's for less advanced is what it is, because you know we can deal with the extra two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny with the standard system though, like you'll have 9/16 and 11/16 or 14/30.
Great fractions. Those are great fractions.
But then when they start to want to get accurate, they go back to thousandths, right?
Yes.
Which is in tens, which is metric. Thousandths is really
because
a metric system.
Because we're able to adapt like that. We can mix and match and use the best parts of each system. You see, unlike the the primitive metric centric world.
How many feet in 5 miles, Tony?
How many feet in 5 miles? I would have to do it. So you got 5,000. Okay, so it's 1320 1/4 mile.
And 5 kilometers is 5,000 meters. It's just you just move a decimal point. There's 1,000 meters in a kilometer, so half a kilometer is 500, quarter is 250. But like it's
okay. Well,
metric is really easy.
Maybe you got me on that one, but John M has got you. Okay?
Thousandths of it is.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Man, you pulled me out of the fire because I was just taking a psychological beating from the foreigner over here. Thank you.
Your car could end up at 10. Oh, geez. And so the argument goes. That metric standard argument will never be settled. But
Ron says we can count to 64. That's right.
How many meters in 5 miles? I had times 1.6. Like, so 5 kilometers is, hang on, how many meters in 5 miles? 1,600 meters in a mile. Yeah, I don't know. It's too hard. I don't know.
All right. Let's see. After 17 millimeter SAE interchanges. That's not true. That's 18 millimeter is 3/4.
19.
That's right. 19 millimeters 3/4. Wait a second. Okay. I don't know what the smaller size interchange, but 9/16 and 11. Oh, 8 millimeter and 5/16 are the same.
They're very close. 13 and a half and 1/2 are pretty close. 14 and 9/16.
Yeah, they're like 1,000ths.
A little, yeah. Just
like 13,000 is like 1,000 bigger than 1/2 inch, and 14 millimeter is 1,000 smaller than 9/16.
You can usually interchange the reaches.
Yeah. The only time you find a problem is if it's a rusty bolt. You can never get like a 9/16. You can't get a 14 millimeter.
Yeah, Charlotte Quinn 9/16 and 14 are close. 5/8, 16, 7/16,
7/11 millimeter.
Yeah. They are close. If you've got a really tight bolt, you're trying to get undone with like a 5/8, so you're trying to get it undone with a 12.16 mil socket, you're probably going to be out of luck. It'll slip.
Len H is saying the fact that Tony couldn't answer how many feet in 5 miles, that's so easy if that was the question. Go ahead with your calculators sitting there at home. What is the answer?
26,400 feet. There you go.
There you go.
Easy.
0 is here. Never fear, 0 is here.
0, we need to put a link up to a metric SAE calculator. Right? A conversion calculator. That's what you need in your merch store.
That's not a bad idea. Let's see. Unless you have English standard size, you went that way. I actually have a set of Whitworth sockets over here.
Whitworth's a whole nother size again, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's weird.
They're good. When you get a fastener, I did that thing on rounded bolts today.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting sections and then chiseling, right? But I keep the Whitworth just for that, because sometimes you'll have one that isn't quite metric, it's not quite standard, and you're able to hammer a Whitworth on it. But I haven't used them for anything else.
But Whitworths are like really wild sizes too, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like 7/8 is like a 7/8 Whitworth is either like gigantic or really small. I can't remember which way it goes, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of correlation to actually 7/8 of it.
No.
That's really weird. That throws me completely for a I just move those to one side. Whitworth, what the hell were they thinking? I agree, man. Mostly, yeah, I agree. Baby elephants. Cute. Oh, see these freaking baby elephants.
Baby elephants.
Yeah.
What's that?
Kiwi Classics and Customs 0.
Yeah, baby elephants. You have.
Well, I mentioned elephants earlier, and obviously someone's wrong with it.
I thought you were going to give a pony out.
That's what
you're
you
supposed to
said.
give a pony away.
Yeah, my little pony, the rainbow one, called Tony.
Whitworth, from those wonderful people who brought you Lucas Wire, the Prince of Darkness.
Lucas Waring, negative, positive grounds and all that fun stuff.
Good evening, Throttle Davidson. Buffed out camper. What's happening, brother, man? Yeah, the next time a brick gives you crap about metric, just thank them for us needing Whitworth wrenches. I got that. I had a couple of BSAs way back, God, 25 years ago. I had a couple of A65s, and I needed the Whitworths for those.
Charlotte, I say New Zealand. What does that sound like? I mean, when you kind of try to overdo the Kiwi accent, New Zealanders do tend to say New Zealand.
What was that?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Instead of New Zealand, that's our accent takes it a little bit towards New Zealand. It's like Australians; they say Australia.
Australia
Instead of Australia. They just drop because they're Australians and they can be a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
They just drop a syllable out and it's Australia.
Olivia Newton-John. Like that's all I really know.
That's all that really counts.
Yeah. Crocodile Dundee. You call that a knife? It's okay. That's the beginning and the end of my knowledge of Australian culture.
That was like okay. That was it. I was. Whew. Charlotte's having a field day.
Beer Hounds, thank you, brother. Yugo for life. Tony be the first to 318 a Yugo. Send me one, man. I could do it. I got a 318 sitting right there on the floor. We could do that.
What was that about? Cave Dave. If I had a girlfriend, would she be more impressed with a windowed 426 Hemi, 70 Challenger, or a 68 383 Barracuda with carburetor problems? I feel like this is a trick question.
That's not a trick question. So he's got a 426 Hemi Challenger with a window. Lock's got a hole in it. Right? Or the 68 383 Barracuda with carburetor problem. Dude, I would think that chick would probably go for the Cuda, the 70 Cuda, 70 Challenger.
With the Hemi in it.
Yeah, no, they don't really care about.
No, they're not.
But it's a more impressive looking car, and chicks like to be impressed by impressive things.
Big things, and it's big.
Impressive. Just anything's impressive. Yeah. They're funny like that.
Charlotte, Mr. Kiwi say aluminium or laboratory. Is that? Did they say aluminium in New Zealand? Yeah, it's aluminium.
Okay.
We add a syllable. We just kind of
totally complicated things. That and the metric system. CC Thompson's girlfriend's like your vet. Yeah, see, they like impressive looking things.
Find a Yugo first. That's your first problem. Yeah, that will be the hardest part about putting a 318 in a Yugo, is actually finding a Yugo.
What the fuck is Whitworth wrench? Whitworth is a size that was used in Britain, like I guess right up until like the 1960s. Definitely through the 50s and then into the 1960s. It's a size that's not standard and it's not metric. It's like it's weird in between, but that was their standard.
Charlotte, yes, we do say X, Y, Z. Man, this is how long I've been here 15 years now, and I'm really like I actually start to forget some of the Kiwi accent because you just get used to saying Z instead of Z.
Yeah, you're coming up a little bit.
You're coming up. I mean, you learn. An old dog, can learn new tricks. It just takes a lot of time. You're really making me nervous with that thing, Tony.
What?
I just feel like your face is gonna burst into flame.
And my face has been on fire so many times. It doesn't matter. I'm an Italian. The skin grows back with no scars.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. It's crazy.
It's what?
You see some people, they get a little burnt up and then they look like Freddy Krueger.
Right.
Like, I never had that problem.
You're as handsome today as the day you met Kathy.
More so. Even the hair follicles grow back. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Big Jazz, say 6. There you go, 6. Australians think we say 6, but we say 6. They say 6.
Who says?
It's turned into a language class instead of a car class.
I say nyet. Let's see.
ZF and not ZF. Yeah, ZF and not ZF. Yeah, well, a ZF transmission is a ZF transmission. That is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, see, Jay Leonard grew back. I'm telling you, it's something with Italians. You can't keep us burnt for long.
I got some of those Whitmore reaches. Alan, they're Whitworth. Hopefully that's just spell check that's done that on you. It's Whitworth.
Tony say radiator. Radiator. Andrew, what grit hone do you recommend for cast iron rings for a 310? Well, I mean, cast rings take a coarse stone, regardless of what kind of engine it is. You use for a true cast ring, like an old school cast ring, you use a coarse stone. And then you freak out a little bit for the first 30 seconds the engine is running and the exhaust is cherry red. And then after that, it's all good.
Do you have chappies instead of buddies? No, we have buddies or mates. Mates is the big thing to say in Australia and New Zealand.
Where is your mate? She's not.
No, she must be still I don't know, doing planks or whatever it is they do in Pilates.
Peter Jensen, 0. What is it? Pete Jensen? Is he on here? Okay. Peter Jensen, are you Pete Jensen, my old friend Pete Jensen, or are you Peter Jensen? Oh, probably not. I have a 69 Dodge 383 with a 727 torque flight. Transmission is leaky. Changed pan gasket twice, still leaking. Any suggestions? Yes, half my cars do the same thing, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. There's a tower seal, right? So when you take the throttle body, not the throttle body, the valve body. You see, there you go. It's like Stroke City. When you take the valve body out, the hole that's in the case that it sticks through for the linkages and everything to fit on, okay, that leaks. But here's the telltale thing with that. Okay, this is what'll drive you crazy with that. It won't leak all the time. It'll only leak after the car sits for a day or two, and then it'll start to leak, right? And it'll stop, obviously, because what happens is, when the engine is running, right, transmission is all, fluid's all circulating, you check the fluid level, it's right, okay? But then, after you shut it off, all the fluid settles down from inside the transmission, raises the level in the pan till it's right even with that seal, and it'll leak from that. So it's a pain in the ass to change on the car. It's not bad. It's nothing to change if it's out of the car, but if it's in the car, oof, let it leak. Let it leak. Park it so that the driver's side of the car is a little higher than the passenger side of the car, and you'll never have another problem.
Classic Auto Garage. Mates are buddies, not spouses. Yep.
So what do you call a spouse?
The wife, or her indoors.
Her what?
Her.
Her what?
Her indoors.
Her indoors you. What?
No, just her indoors, like as an inside.
Oh, her indoors.
It's a slang term for the wife.
Ah,
her
I like
indoors.
That. I like that.
Yeah.
I can't see. Uncle Kathy's watching this, so I can't even joke like that.
Have I ever seen live great white? No. I have snorkeled on the Great Barrier Reef. I haven't fished on the Great. I don't know whether you can these days. Well, I'm sure certain parts of it are protected. But no, I have not seen a great white live. That would be a scary proposition. I would be walking on water if I saw one of them.
Throttle Davidson is right. Pressure does seal it when the engine is running. But I'm telling you, when it sits, it should maintain a seal even without the pressure. And I'm telling you, that's what happens. After a day, all of the fluid is slowly draining back down into the pan, drip, drip, drip from all of the stuff inside, and the level comes up and it'll seep out that hole. I know this because half my cars do this.
Okay.
And I'm too busy making YouTube videos to fix them.
De Beaumont resident. Have either of you tried putting Holly Sniper on any old school V8s? Well, Tony's a definite hard no.
I am a hard no on that.
And I have not. If I had a little more faith in that particular product, particularly the Sniper, I'd probably be interested in learning more about it and becoming an installer. But the Sniper is
ass. It's ass. Go search forums, right? 25-30% of the people who buy them love them, swear by them. 20% who say they love them and swear by them are lying because they don't want to make look they got taken advantage of. And then 50% of the people are like, never again, I got robbed blind. So do your research. Don't take my word for it. Just go online. It's all the information you need is right there.
Mostly old parts. Kiwi, are New Zealand laws more strict regarding vehicle modifications than the USA? I'm trying to think of a suitable word to answer that with. It is, I mean, to say it's night and day is just the wildest understatement you ever heard. Okay. New Zealand is so strict on modifications. Like I took a Mustang back for my old man, and we got pinged because I'd put TMI seats in it, right, which is an aftermarket seat.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, if you put an aftermarket seats in there, they have a formula for how many square centimeters or square inches the reinforcing plate has to be. Now, these seats we put in bolt to the factory Mustang mounts.
But they weren't good enough.
But they weren't good enough. They were good enough for the other millions of Mustangs they've made. So many things like that. We got pinged on brake lines because the brake lines, and I put the brake line in the factory location on the factory little mounts that the Mustangs have, and they're little, every so often they've got them, not enough.
Yeah, see,
they've got to be it's got to be every 12 inches in New Zealand with the brake line. This is the hard line.
In this country, the car literally has to be on fire at the time it's being inspected.
Yeah,
to have a problem.
Yeah. And saying that, like, there's some really dangerous cars driving around on the road in America because
there are.
Partially, some of it's because the owners don't know how dangerous they are, and some of it is because the owners don't care. They'll drive them until they drop.
Zero just put up the link to your channel.
Kiwi Classics and Customs.
Isn't that wonderful? And you guys can go sub to him. You know, you were supposed to give away a pony for the best question tonight. You were. Well, I typed it out on the description, so I mean, I'm kind of obligated at this point.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But even without the pony, you should still go over there to his channel and sub and like and share and like do all of those things.
Buff Del Campo. Kiwi, if you replace the engine on that Ford Club Wagon, you want the old 144 and maybe the trans as well. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that if we do end up swapping it out, I'm sure the owner won't want the old one. So keep an eye on the videos as they're coming. Like that car's getting picked up. Is actually just waiting. The guy's out on tour, so he's picking it up, I think, next week. But it's going to be at least 6 months away before that car even comes back to looking at an engine swap. So keep watching my videos, in which case you'll have to subscribe. And when that pops back up on the videos, when we start doing the swap, if we end up doing it, holler out again. Just hit me in the comments and say, hey, I want that. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, I see conspiracies. All right. He says, you gave up on Plan Z. You should have tried harder, maybe go back to the heavy crank. First of all, I did not give up on Plan Z. I'm getting rid of that body and switching it over to another body that's more suitable for what I eventually want to do with it, along with other things. No, I haven't given up on it at all. And explain to me how in this cosmos going to a heavier crank is going to make a car go faster, because I'm completely lost on that. No, we have not given up on Plan Z. We're just switching it over to another platform.
It's the Great Barrier Reef is dangerous, as they say.
Buff Del Campo is sub to your channel.
Look at that. Yeah. Well done. Very cool.
Does he get a pony?
No, he missed that one by like 14 minutes. He was.
Who got the pony?
Who got the pony? I can't say that, so we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
I didn't see you give away a pony. I mean, I've been sitting here the whole time. I didn't see any.
You know, you were probably trying to light that cigarette with a flamethrower, which distracted you.
Dude, only 75 likes. That's why you've got to give away a pony. That is reflecting on your popularity. You believe that?
Yeah, well, I thought they liked me.
Bubba Camper wants his pony.
Plan Z is now Plan Z.
Plan Z.
Z sled.
The Beatles, I dig a pony. Mm-hmm.
Plush Kevs would be a cool Kiwi merch. There you go. Yeah, we could do that.
Dean Stevenson loves My Little Pony. It worked for Edsel.
Okay.
I'm not going to touch that.
Now, Classic Auto Garage, he's asked us again. I saw him a few minutes ago. I did ask about the Quadrajet on the Pontiac 326. Should I use it to stay true or go Holly?
It depends what you're using the car for. If it's a driver, cruiser, that sort of thing, by all means, stick with the Quadrajet. I mean, if little 326, man, you're probably not going to go very, it doesn't like a hardcore engine. I would say definitely for a driver, cruiser, that type of car, absolutely stick with the Quadrajet and learn the Quadrajet.
Tony, did you ever modify an air conditioning pump from an old Mopar air compressor for your tires?
No. I mean, you could.
This is going back many decades now. A guy I knew actually did just that. It wasn't a Mopar. I can't remember what his car was. It wasn't an American Mopar, but he got one of those style AC compressors, and he turned it into the compressor unit. And he had a tank in the back of his truck, and
I can see it.
That AC compressor would fill his tank, and
he was going to move a lot of air.
When he did on-site welding. That's about as much as I can remember, because it was literally probably 40 years ago.
The thing with that, though, is I don't know how you keep it lubricated. Because
isn't it self-contained? Oh, because it's it's going through everything, isn't it?
Right. The oil is in the refrigerant. So if you run it for a prolonged period of time without lubricant, like I could see in a pinch, you need to just run some air into something, you know what I mean? But you would have to keep like some sort of lubricant.
It's a good point. I don't know how he did that.
That's why I have 300,000 subs, Kiwi.
It is
because I think of stuff like that.
All the answers.
That's right. Yeah. Eric's Grudge. What are your bearing clearances on Bottle Rocket? You take the rods and go like this. Duck, 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 duck.
Throttle down. You put a quick connect fitting right off the head. Works great. Yeah, I guess if the system was,
I see conspiracies. If the rotating assembly is too light, the only thing pushing the car down the track are the pistons, and pistons are tiny. No, you're not. No, you're accelerating down the track. You're not being pushed down the track. The acceleration is strictly a factor of combustion. Period. The end. Yeah. And a heavy crank actually has the opposite effect. A heavy crank slows you down because it's eating power. It eats power to turn the crank. So a larger portion of the fuel being burned and turned into energy is consumed by having to spin the heavy crank.
I had a similar argument with a guy years ago who tried to tell me that your flywheel, a heavier flywheel, gives you more torque.
Yeah.
Like a flywheel is just a piece of steel.
Right.
And if you drop it, it just lays there. It doesn't it doesn't produce anything.
Okay. Well,
it doesn't give you more torque, but it took a while. I finally kind of.
Well, it doesn't increase the torque, but it can give you it can simulate having more torque under certain circumstances. Example, right? Ever drive an unsynchronized 3-speed trans?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay. So you try not to downshift into first.
Right.
You can't really downshift. You can, but you're going to grind gears.
Yeah.
So if you slow it down to, let's say, 5 miles an hour, and you can't put it in a first, but you want to accelerate from the very bottom of second, the flywheel, that inertia effect from the flywheel will kind of give you the impression or the effect of having more torque, but not actually creating more torque.
Right.
You get the flywheel effect.
That inertia, yeah. That's the difference in the word.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
I mean, you're
it's
right
inertia
in that
versus torque.
yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't create anything, and I think the same applies to crank. Like a big heavy crank is going to create inertia, but it's not going to create horsepower.
Let's see. Cabello Cabarudo, God bless you all. I'm always learning a lot right here from Brazil. You say you're all in Brazil? I thought that was like a Tennessee thing. Let's see, Mick and Yuck.
Cars with aluminum flywheels have no power. Yeah.
No.
We're going to have to agree to disagree about. There's a lot of race cars with aluminum flywheels that would, you know, beyond seriously fast.
So if you go back to the stick shift days, okay, you go, and this is very specifically now, right? The modified eliminator cars, where you had very small engines. So you had like a 287-inch Chevy and like a 3,800-pound, you know, whatever it was in. Okay, so it was craziness. And they were running like 617 gears. And they left the line at like 11,000 RPM. Those cars used extremely heavy flywheels so that that little motor wouldn't get sucked down when the clutch was dropped. So they used a heavy flywheel. But nothing else does. If power and weight are in proportion, no, you don't use a heavy flywheel. You use a light flywheel.
Dean Stevenson, that's funny. Centripetal force. I like that.
Let's see. Charlotte Quillen, top fuel cars only turn about 900 RPM down the quarter mile. If that. I think when we had calculated that out at one point, back when we were running 320.
Yeah, I thought it was about 750, but
yeah, it was like in the 700 range.
Depends how big it. Yeah.
But we were only running like 290 back then.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so that's how they get away with aluminum rods. They don't have to do many revolutions. Like, you know, you don't see aluminum rods in 100,000-mile engines because they just won't survive.
Well, you know, here's an interesting fact about aluminum rods and nitro motors. Okay?
Right.
So they use the aluminum rods and nitro motors to dampen the effect of detonation.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Aluminum rods shrink in a nitro motor. They stretch in every other type of motor. So let's say you got an alcohol motor.
Right.
Okay? And you rev it to 9,500 RPM. Right? After several runs, you have to check the rods for stretch.
Right.
Okay. With a nitro motor, after every run or two, you have to check them for shrinkage.
It sounds right. Yeah. Yeah. Because piston speed's going to stretch out your rod.
Well, you don't have the cylinder pressure on an alcohol.
Yeah, to push it back down. Yeah.
Right, but on a nitro motor, it's all cylinder pressure, and it actually shrinks
nitro motors are almost hydrolocking on every compression, aren't they?
If it's done right.
Yeah, almost. We got a message.
Let's see. 507 Jaybird. Tony, talked to you about blown injected alcohol altered last Thursday. The car is suspended in the rear so I can switch blower pulleys to detune. Yeah, but I'm telling you, bro, don't go too far. Don't go too far. And your suspension settings are going to change.
Mrs. Kiwi loves your name for tonight's show.
Oh, you like that, huh? See, I did that for you because, I
Mrs. Kiwi's online, or at least, well, I didn't see the comment yet, but she's lurking. She's lurking in the background.
I see conspiracy. Lots of fast cars with aluminum flywheels, also lots of classes of racing. Right, I know. J. Russell Finch, what is the purpose of vented pistons? I see they also have vented rings. Okay, those aren't vents. And that's something that went out of style a long time ago. That was back in the 70s. That was a big deal. It's called gas porting. And what they would do is they would drill holes around the perimeter of the piston just behind the ringland. So this way, so the way a ring works, the way a ring works is when the combustion pressures, when the cylinder pressure raises, when it spikes, the pressure gets behind the ring and pushes the ring out against the cylinder wall. Well, what they were doing back in, I'm going to say like 72, 3, 4, 5, 6, in that range, where the hot setup there was to gas port them. So they would drill a series of holes through the head of the piston, and it would lead to the back part of the ringland to give a more direct outward push on the ring. Does that make any sense? And then the Dykes ring started, and the Dykes ring does pretty much the same thing. That little ledge on the Dykes ring is a way for the compression pressures to push out against the cylinder wall.
Jeff Hutchins, heavy flywheels are good in rock crawlers. Yeah, they actually. Yeah,
I can
they
see
would
that.
be.
Yeah,
they would be. A huge flywheel would be great.
Or Larry Zagoon, think of a flywheel as a torque storage device, object in motion and such. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But it has to be in motion already for the flywheel to have any effect.
Yeah.
Our
secret may be out because someone just asked us if we're wearing pants.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I always wear pants. I mean, like, always.
Not always.
Oh, bro, come on, don't even joke like that. Don't even joke like that. Come on.
Yes, we're wearing pants.
Yuck, are you guys on coffee or Red Bull? Coffee, bro. Coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah, there's empty.
Where is the coffee?
I literally fill up garbage pails with nothing but coffee cups.
Back to the aluminum rods. Are rods in nitro cars different from blown alcohol cars?
You know, years ago they weren't. They were like we were using Brooks. Brooks was the big one back then. I'm trying to think the Venolia. We used a lot of Venolia rods, and no, they were the same. The rods themselves were the same, but I couldn't say that it's the same way today. I have no idea what they're using today.
Taylor Parker wants you to prove it.
Prove what?
That you're wearing pants.
I'm always I'm a never nude. I mean, like and then some. Okay. Yeah, Venolia made pistons. Really nice, really expensive pistons. Did you know that when you buy a set of pistons for a nitro motor, you get a set of 10?
Really? Why?
Because you're going to burn them.
No, okay.
You're going to burn them. So when you buy a set of pistons, you get 10.
Right.
So what you do is you buy 5 sets, and then you have like an extra whole set of pistons, and then a couple of spares.
Caleb Parker. Tony's proven it. Kiwi question mark. Well, no, there has to be. It's just a little.
He's wearing pants.
There has to be a little
pants.
air of mystery. So
yeah,
we're going to.
This is a totally hetero zone.
We're going to refuse to confirm or deny that. So yeah, was Tony born wearing pants?
I put them on as soon as I could, bro.
He had kids wearing pants.
Curtis Randolph. I can't even picture Tony wearing shorts. I bet he has 2 pairs of pants on. No, just 1 pair of pants. But I mean, like in my mind, see, I'm really old school. In my mind, the only parts of a man's body that should ever show are his hands, arms, and face. Everything else should always be covered completely all the time. Let's see. Baker's dozen pistons.
Yeah.
Tony's legs are ghost white. Nothing on me is ghost white.
Rumor has it, yeah.
Scooby, Uncle Tony, yes. Most oil ports. Curious, what compression ring thickness works well with blown nitro pistons versus, say, a full bulky gasoline engine? We used to use a thin stainless ring. I mean, nothing special about the rings. You know, if you go back to the really early days, you go back to like, you know, the 1960s up until around 1970, the hot setup for blown nitro was just a regular cast ring, like nothing crazy. You just go to same ring you put in, like, you know, your small block Chevy on a, you know, 307 rebuild, the same rings that they were using on nitro motors. They held up better than anything else at the time. Caleb Parker, Tony, do you wear jeans when you and Uncle Kathy go swimming in the river? I don't swim, bro. I don't swim. I take a shower and that's it. I get dressed as fast as I can.
Apparently Dons don't wear shorts.
No, they don't.
So you're a Don?
I could be.
Don what?
A Don. I could be, you know, I could be made, actually. Joe K, Clothing Tech Talk Live. Randall Duncan, people are being silly. Who's being silly?
But hey, he likes.
But I like you showing your
knowledge.
knowledge. Thank you.
Yes.
Peter Kovac, so you go swimming fully dressed? I don't swim, bro. Why would I do that? Many hundreds of millions of years ago, my ancestors climbed out of the water. You know what I mean? And that was it. That was, as far as I'm concerned, we're done with that part of it. now move forward.
See Scoop's question? I'm not.
Okay. If
do
I have
you
a
think
hard
of that?
shutter in a 68 with a 396 and a power glide in first under acceleration and it goes away once you're rolling, what could this be? Torque converter, rear diff? No, that sounds like clutches. Yeah, sorry about that, bro. It appears to me that you're going to be pulling that transmission out. Hard shutter with a 68 or 396 and a power glide. Yeah, power. That's how you know a power glide is on its way out. You give it gas and it'll go and it'll, you know, it'll cruise okay. It'll accelerate in high gear fine, but first gear when they start to go away, you get that shutter.
So here's a topic for you. What's your opinion on the best mass-produced sleeper of the late 90s and early 2000s?
Oh, I don't really have an opinion on that, but I'm sure you do, because you're up on things that I really have no conception of.
Some of those, this may be the kind of Australian side of me coming out a little bit, but I would have to say some of the HSV Commodores around that area, they made some HSVs that were like 20% better than stock, and they made some HSV that weren't badass.
I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
Two hacks. What's happening, brother man?
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Tony, apparently you do in fact put your pants on two legs at a time.
Yeah.
Really?
I do.
You just levitate?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, okay,
but yes, yeah. I do put them on two legs at a time. I put my socks on simultaneously also. Let's see. What was that? Scroll back a little bit there. Brian Power. I've heard of old motors from the 30s and 40s being bored one hole at a time. Could that be done on, say, a bone stock 318 if it's only 10 thousandths or so? Never see the upside of 3,000 RPM. First off, a 10 thousandths overbore, right? So if you're dealing with an engine that has standard clearances, a 10 thousandths overbore adds 5 thousandths of an inch piston to wall clearance. Now, if you look at any service manual, the variation is going to be 5 thousandths of an inch. So a 10 overbore with a stock piston, a stock size piston, was, and still is in some places, normal standard operating procedure. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if I need be, if anybody has an argument with that, I will pull out the Chrysler service manual right there and show you what it says. You can overbore one cylinder 60 over if need be, and put a 60 over piston in it if need be, and it will not affect the way the engine runs. You will never know that's there. But we only have 96 likes. Dude, we're slipping. People do not like us anymore. I think it's because you wore the same shirt 2 weeks in a row.
No, I didn't. That's not what I wore last week.
Oh, what is that?
That is all a name of a bunch of New Zealand expressions and cities and
What's
towns.
kapai mean?
Kapai, that means it's all good. Kapai, it's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff there. Sweet as, that's a real Kiwi saying.
What is it?
Sweet as.
Sweet as.
Sweet as.
Sweet as what?
It's just sweet as. It's just as sweet as can be.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's what we say a lot. Cuzzy bro. What else? I'm trying to read upside down here, guys, so give me a break.
Well, you're from that part of the world.
Yeah,
it shouldn't make any difference.
Should all be upside down. Yeah.
Chris Greenaway, UTG, I literally used your video hack today for those chintzy interior fastener bolt screws that rust from the back and crack the panel. Thank you, Tom. See, it's handy. It's a handy thing to do. I don't know why more people don't do videos like that. Just simple things that, I don't know why I don't do more videos like that.
Throttle Davison, Kiwi, reaching on a 75 Ford Granada 4-door with a straight six, super clean car. Oh, man, there's not really a right or wrong answer for that. Like, if it's a super clean car, it's just not been messed with. I mean, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Put some nice wheels and tires on it. Call it good. I mean, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea for a cup of tea. See, that's a New Zealand thing. For a hot rod, but I mean, just a cool old car, nonetheless. But you start putting V8s in it, you've got to swap engine, obviously, transmission, linkages, rear axles, all that kind of stuff. Put some nice wheels on it and drive it. Just drive it. People will love it.
Peter Kovacs once says that would be an interesting test. 8 cylinders, each with a different size overbore, see how it performs. Dude, it will perform exactly stock. It won't show up on a dyno. It's not going to show up in any type of imbalance or vibration or drivability. You would never, ever know. You would never know.
Charlotte Quillen. Does Mr. Kiwi say, come a cropper? Yes, that's an expression that I have been known to use.
What does that mean?
That's like, when Dr. Oz fell off his bike, when he was riding your mini bike. That's coming a cropper.
Ah, okay, okay.
Falling on your ass, going face first. Whatever.
Come a cropper.
Yeah.
All right, I got to remember that. I'm going to start. You know what? I'm putting out my next video. I am going to incorporate that. The next video I'm doing is on the Mr. Norm Big Block Dart Myth. And it's going to be a long video. Actually.
Right.
Yeah. But in that video, I will use that phrase. Ari showed up. What's happening, Ari?
Hey.
All the amazing mods are here now, and we are so protected, bro. We are so protected.
Yes.
Okay, what was this now?
Dexter's Wolverine Garage. Yeah, I'd pay money to watch Tony try and get into his pants on a trampoline, 2 legs at a time. I'd actually pay money to see that.
Well, I would never go on a trampoline pantsless. It's that simple.
Trust me, the world is grateful.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Nothing on earth is sillier than a naked or half-dressed man. Nothing. Zeros, you are a free content provider.
Free content.
He doesn't have any of this communist membership stuff or anything like that. It's free to everybody.
There you go.
And the knowledge it vomits out of his head. It's like projectile vomiting, just intelligence and eloquence.
Like coming a cropper.
Yeah, it's hard to projectile vomit eloquence. It's difficult.
It's a contradiction in terms, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Charlotte Collins, you're busy tonight. Come a cropper came from the penny farthing bicycle fatalities. Really?
What was that?
Come a cropper, that expression, like falling over, going flat on your face, whatever, came from penny farthing bicycle fatalities.
Interesting. That's the trivia. That's the trivia thing of the year. That's awesome. I like that. Okay, Wheelie King. Being a machinist, I find it funny when people tell me how far their power plant is overboard, like it's going to add a bunch of power, like 30,000 side is going to make crazy power. I know, but that's the illusion people have. What they don't realize is that it's more likely to make better power at the smaller bore because there's less cylinder distortion.
Yeah, like people shout about having their 302.4s now 306.
Yeah,
it's like, oh well, suddenly now you stand no chance in the drag race. Right? You're screwed. Like, they got a 306. Like, fuck. Jimmy K63. No, I have not found a Bauer engine yet. No, not one that's what I'm looking for.
Charlotte Cole just elaborated. Being tossed over the handlebars and being planted headfirst on a cobblestone road.
Yeah, that'd hurt.
Well, that's where your phrase comes from.
Yeah. Okay. Shiv me orange.
UTG, how is Morticia? Still waiting for Ron. I thought he was supposed to be here today. It's still, yeah. It
Yeah.
is what it is. I'm working on Sledgehammer right now.
This is you. I don't know whether you kind of have a end of days plan, but this could be you.
I want to be thrown. I want to be thrown out of the back of a pickup truck onto a pile of rocks and just left there.
I like this idea. When he dies, he wants to be cremated, run through a 318,
and spit out into the ocean or maybe the woods or something. Why a 318?
But you could get the ashes and then pour the ashes down like a wide open 318 and just.
I don't really care that much about my remains.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I just don't care. You know. Let's see.
Blaze, you're right. No, I don't know how to say that name.
Blaze Uriarty.
Yeah. Whitworth good brakes. Yes, they are. I've been using Whitworth brakes for probably 40 years, and yeah, I am a big fan. And honestly, it's a good product, and all their brake kits actually fit. Like, you don't have to tweak this. You don't have to file a bit off here or grind a bit off there or make something work. Like, you follow their instructions, and if they say put bolt 16 into hole 16, you do that, and it'll go in, and everything works. It's as simple as the instructions are.
I don't modify brake systems.
Yeah,
it's just something that just don't mess with.
Yeah.
XLMI, good pairing of personalities and viewer input. It's not easy carrying him through an entire 2-hour live, but I've learned how to do it.
Luckily, you've got broad shoulders.
I can carry a lot on my back, so Wayne, 361 mule in the near future. Yeah, I mean the motor's sitting right there. That 361, the slant 6, and a couple of other things I've got in mind are all going to be cycled through the mule car. Let's see.
What's the 73 Roadrunner revival? It's a 340 stroke to 416.
No, it's a stock 340. It's actually a 1968 340. No, just stock. Well, it's got headers on it. But that's it. And no, I don't want anything more than that. It's a great driver. It's an excellent cruiser. Nice car to just get in and enjoy driving a car. So no, I'm not gonna go berserk with that.
Charlotte Cullen, yeah, I didn't see that movie, The Battle of Britain, but yeah, I can well imagine them saying something like that about Napoleon. Yeah. Throttle Davison, therapy with Kiwi and Uncle, good stuff. Well, yeah, if we could spread a bit of light into people's lives, then we've done good.
I think of myself as like a butterfly of light.
Butterfly of light.
Yeah, isn't that right? I know. You look at me, you say, "No, there's no way."
That's kind of like My Little Ponies sort of stuff.
A little bit. Yeah. I got a little glittery in my soul. Yeah. Augustin Mosquita. Scott, I'm sorry if I murdered your name, brother man. Like your video on the ghost. Good info. Some people didn't like it, man. We got a lot of backlash on that, but everything I said is absolutely. Let's see. Stevie B. Tony, Toyota rotors or good aftermarket rotors? I swear by the Toyota pads, though. Your opinion matters, so what's the deal? The factory, if you buy factory rotors, you know that they're going to be properly hardened for the pads that are going to be on that car. Years ago, it didn't make any difference. We used organic pads, asbestos, and all kinds of, and it didn't matter what the composition of the rotor was. And then around like in the 1980s, 1990s, then all of these, then metallic, semi-metallic, full metallic, ceramic, all of these different composition of pads all require a different surface hardness on the rotor. So I would say, just to make sure you don't end up with a squeaky, squealy mess down the road, I would say stick with the Toyota stuff.
So crash a lot. Tony, roll one for Kiwi. I bet he can smoke the whole thing without dying. Yeah, no, that's where you'd be wrong.
Yeah, he's soft. Yeah,
I've never smoked, and I really enjoy Thursday nights, but I go home and I have to have a shower because I smell like Tony's cigarette.
Nice. I bet your Mrs. Kiwi likes it though.
Not so
It's like
much.
you smell manly.
Yeah, no. I was like, go away from me, yes. Yeah. But Tony's worth it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta, you know, take a little bit of
The good with the bad.
yeah.
I have to see. I have ADD, off the chain, borderline autism. I'm you know, it's that simple, right? So I need the combination of caffeine, nicotine, and sugar to keep a mind that I can work with. You know what I mean? Without those things, I'm useless. I'm totally useless. So, you know, you do what you have to do to maintain. You know, the alternative is stuff like Ritalin and shit like that, which totally wrecks you. You know what I mean? You stay away from that. So I smoke cigarettes and I drink a lot of freaking coffee. I throw a lot of sugar in there, and that keeps me level.
Okay, Uncle Tony, any tips on getting very rusty oil pan bolts out? Most of the heads are gone.
Oh, jeez.
Interesting question.
That is an interesting question. I've never seen an oil pan bolt rusted that badly. I can't imagine what the inside of this thing's going to look like. I, they're a little slow. Well,
Typically not very big bolts, and they're probably not seized in. It's probably just outside rust taking the head away. So, what about trying to chisel? You know, is that what you were doing today? Like
Yeah.
chiseling around the side of a
Didn't
bolt
even
to try and
chisel.
break it free?
I cut a third of the head off, a third of the head off, and was just left with the centerpiece.
Oh, okay.
And then just
So a little
tapped it with
flat-sided
right.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, try what we did on that video today and see if that'll work for you.
Probably wouldn't go with an easy out, I don't think.
I don't know.
Fairly small bolts typically who do it, you know, for easy outs.
It's one of those things
that aren't very easy typically.
Yeah, people ask questions like that, but every situation is different. So it's really hard to give a straightforward answer with something like that.
Does Kiwi drink coffee, or coffee? I drink coffee. So I'm not sure which one of those three it sounds like to you guys, but I drink coffee. Quite a bit of coffee.
I drink more.
Probably. But do you put bourbon in your coffee?
No.
Oh, well, see, you haven't lived.
I can't drink. It's all part of that whole ADD autism thing.
Well, okay.
It just doesn't work for me.
Right. Left-hand drill. Yeah, left-hand drill sets are actually pretty good. Pretty good. Charlotte calling. Mr. Kiwi, do you enjoy a Foster's Lager? Very rarely these days, I tell you, very rarely. But yes, not a bad drop. That's the type of beer, Foster's. Yeah.
I know. I got sick like crazy drinking Foster's out of an oil can when I was a kid, and it stuck with me forever. Let's see. Grip tight super sockets work pretty good too. Yeah, there was people made all kinds of recommendations as far as different sockets and stuff like that in that video. All good stuff. All good stuff. South Farmington, Uncle T, what do you put in your coffee? You look like a 3 sugar, 1 cream, but I could be wrong. I like it medium, you know, not too light, not dark. I'm really particular about that. There's a certain color, right, that I shoot for. And no, 3 sugars, no. It depends on the size of the coffee. But oh God, 6 or 7 in like a large, which I guess would be about 3 in a regular.
What kind of American bourbon do Zillanas drink? Well, if I'm sipping it straight or on the rocks, then Angel's Envy I rather like. Otherwise, it's just something like Jim Beam if I'm mixing it. It doesn't seem worthwhile putting really high dollar bourbon in with, you know, Coke or whatever your chosen mixer is, because yeah, it's kind of a bit of a waste of good bourbon.
CC Top Solutions. Okay, so CC Top. I want to know how you figured this out, how you got that, because he says chock full of nuts, New York roast. Okay, so back around, I guess it was around 7 or 8 months ago. Okay, where there were shortages of things. Okay, I was like, you know what? There's some things not going to take any chances on shortages of. So I went to Publix and I bought their entire coffee thing, right? I bought every bit of coffee but I bought all, specifically though, I went for the chock full of nuts New York roast. And I have currently in one of the closets at the house, I guess there's about 30 of them left. And I'm going to replenish that. I'm going to replenish that. I don't know how you figured that one out, but yeah, like if you go to my house right now, there's about 30 containers of chock full of nuts New York roast.
So Charlotte, you must live in Kentucky then, somewhere. That's Kentucky's kind of the bourbon capital, I think, isn't it? Here's a question. What car has given you the most problems and become a money pit?
I don't have a money pit. I don't really know what a money pit is. Just because of my methodologies of doing things, the kind of cars that I choose and I work with. So cars give me the most problems. See, it's a tough question. You know why it's a tough question? Because there's the problems that I cause, and then there's the problems that the cars cause.
Yeah, well,
and my cars generally don't cause me any problems, but I cause my cars lots of problems.
Yeah, that's been. Yeah, we definitely share that because the more you mess with them, the more problems they give you. And guys like us can't help ourselves.
Can't help yourself. You just got to
mess with them a little bit.
Yep.
That's why on that blue thing, I'm just leaving it alone.
You have no choice. You have to have space alien.
Well, yeah, but like I've lifted the bonnet twice.
Right.
Twice.
You notice
the first time was just to make sure it had an engine, and it did. So it was like, good. Shut it and off.
We've looked at the car and I never once said, "Hey, let me see what's under the hood."
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I want to know.
Yeah. He doesn't know what the back of it looks like either, but he will.
Not likely, brother man. Not likely.
Well, you did get a bit of a look at it when you were in Slackhammer, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Look at the converter. I just showed you the converter that was in the car. I mean, come on. Please, I would have ate your lunch if that thing was functioning the way it was supposed to.
Right.
You want to try it again?
What now?
It take me about an hour to finish bolting it together.
No, I'm going home after this. Yeah. Anyway, back to the viewers. They don't just want to watch us poking shit at each other. Highly recommended junkyard.
Let's see. I highly recommend Junkyard Digs Pole Barn Garage's videos on the Magnum 360 motor swap into a Vet's 56 DeSoto. Very good watch. Okay. Sir Crashlight, I have a GMC van that identifies as a Chevy. Should I encourage it or discourage it to do so? What are its pronouns?
Here we go. Mostly old parts. I had to break the news to a buddy that a Rotax in a Sea-Doo was seized and or stuck. I don't have time to mess with it either, or do. Yeah, I know a little bit about those motors. Yeah, that was one of those projects that I messed with, and it messed back with me really badly. Yeah, they're a lot of fun, the Sea-Doo jet ski. I used to race them years.
Did you?
Yeah, well, we were 20 years ago. 20 years ago. We used to go racing out in the ocean, like 100-mile races.
Yeah, so I'm not a mermaid, man. I couldn't be doing that, you know. Ari says, I feel like kit cars are always money pits. Dude, it's like only one of like 25 ever actually sees the road, and that's only for like an hour or two, and then it's back to being taken all apart again. I think we broke it.
Yeah.
They're talking about boats.
They are talking about boats.
I don't want to talk about boats. I've had boats, and I don't want to talk about them.
Aircraft are designed and required to be money pits. Well, yeah, you've got the last thing you want is an unreliable aircraft. Anyway, someone said something about muscle car.
Mostly all parts. So far we've seen muscle cars, motorcycles, mini bikes, gassers, no time cars, slant six Miata. When are we going to see Uncle Tony build an air-cooled VW powered dune buggy? You know, there's a few of them that keep popping up on Marketplace. Cheap, really cheap. And
Dune buggies?
yeah, dune buggies and
Oh,
sand
yeah.
rails. There's one of them. I don't know where my phone is. There's one of them that looks really cool. It's a sand rail, okay?
Right.
And what this guy did was he stretched a VW body, a bug body, over it, and kind of left the doors off.
Huh.
And it is a wicked looking car.
Huh.
It's currently on Marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
Stevie B G body. There's a twin to Cracker Barrel on right down the road from me over here now. When I pass it every time I come to and from the shop. I don't want to say it's a twin. It's the same color, but it's like a two-tone. But yeah, I know. I would like that, but I got enough.
Yes, Mrs. Kiwi asking me, what was the car? Oh, it's gone now. What was when I was out in California and we went to a car show out there, and there was a 59, I think it was a DeSoto. It had the swivel seats. But
Yeah.
spin on the spot. And they were really cool. That was really cool. I've seen pictures of that stuff. I hadn't actually seen a car with them in. And the beauty of it was the lady was handicapped, so she was in a wheelchair. It was perfect for it. She could actually shuffle herself in there, get in there without any fancy contraptions and bigger doors and all that kind of thing. But here she was driving this 59 DeSoto that's like 20 feet long, and she was awesome. She was awesome. And I actually got to figure out. I've got the video, but there's music playing in the background, so there's that whole copyright thing.
Copyright infringement.
So I don't know whether I'm ever going to be able to show you guys, but it was
well, you could
really
just,
cool.
You could just show the video and talk over it.
Right.
You know.
Oh, take
the sound out and just do a voiceover.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let's see.
But that was funny. We stumbled into a guy that was from Australia, and I walked up and I said, he had a Tirana, a Holden Tirana, and I said, "Hey, whose is the Tirana?" And he goes, frickin' Kiwi. Didn't say frickin', but it was close. But yeah, that was one Aussie welcoming another Kiwi. No, yes.
James Finch, I remember the day a few years ago where UT said, "I won't buy any bikes as I have a problem and it won't stop." Dude, I put the brakes on it. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, I said, "Yeah, I just want one bike." I didn't even want a bike. I was going through Facebook Marketplace, and that 883R popped up, and I wanted one of those bikes. It's 2002 883R, and I wanted one of those bikes when they first came out, and I never got one. I was with the sport bikes back then, and I had a bunch of iron heads, so I didn't. There really was no room in my life for an Evo. But now I look back and I was like, "Oh my God, I got to have that bike." So I went and I bought it. Okay. And then I was like, well, okay, I don't want to ride this thing all the time. I want to keep it kind of pristine. So I need something I can bounce around with. So I bought another one. And then I bought another. Oh, I got to go off-road. Oh, I bought another one. And I ended up, I had like 8 bikes. Okay. And then over the last like 2 months, I got rid of everything but, everything but the 883R and my Honda Super Cub. I love the Honda Super Cub. It's such a gay little thing. Yeah. Right. So I have the Harley, the Super Cub, and I've been riding my kid's Virago around here. I gave my kid a Virago last year or the year before, and he doesn't really ride it. And I brought it here so I could put tires on it, put a battery in it, and stuff like that. And I've been riding the living piss out of that thing like every day. And but that's it. Done with bikes. Yes. Yeah.
So someone asked why do Kiwis and Aussies not like each other? That's not really. I mean, like you said, there's a little bit of a thing. There's a fierce sporting rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, and New Zealanders, obviously support their own teams. Their football team, rugby team, soccer team, whatever. We always support our own team, and we also support any other team that's playing Australia. whoever, it might be Mozambique or someone, playing ping pong with someone from Australia, and we support the other, not Australia.
Anything but Australia.
No. And I'm sure it's the other way around too, to be fair.
Throttle Davidson, Virago's as fast as, not this one, it's 250. It's all too, you know what the funny thing about that bike is, right? Well, I didn't want to give anything monstrous for him to learn on, right? But the funny thing about that bike is that it's actually larger than the Sportster. It has a longer wheelbase and it's wider than the Sportster, but it's only a 250. It's a great little bike. You know what? I tell you what, it's like the perfect back road, country road, 45 mile an hour, 50 mile bike. It is ideal. It's perfect.
Did you ever get the Royal Enfield?
I did not, and I'm drawing a line. I'm drawing a line. I tell you what,
those are cool bikes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I got to draw the line because I realized over the last recent times now, right? I've become a fair welder. When I was younger, I rode year round. I didn't care what it could, snowing, ice storms. I just didn't give a shit. I rode year round, right? But now I've become a fair weather rider. And I realized that I really have no interest in taking motorcycle trips. I have no interest in spending more, going like more than 100 miles in any given direction. So with that, and you don't know that until you put yourself in the world of that stuff. And I realize I'm a fair weather rider, and I don't need a big variety of bikes. I need the Harley, so that because I love the bike. It's just a beautiful bike, and you want to feel a real motorcycle. Well, there you go. Okay, and the Super Cup is perfect because it disappears. So if you want to go for a nice ride on a sunny day, right, you just want to enjoy the scenery and the birds and everything else, well, the bike doesn't interfere with it. It kind of just disappears and hums down the road nice and happy. And that's all I really need. That's all I need.
Does Kiwi have any bikes? Frank G. No, I do not. If I did, I probably wouldn't be here. One of my problems is I have more. I'm braver than I am talented when it comes to riding a bike by a long shot, and that's just not a good combination. Like to go fast, and then suddenly there's a corner, and it's like, oh shit. So yeah, me and bikes. I've had a few trail bikes and quad bikes, stuff like that, but yeah, I usually end up, and I'm just getting too old for it now. Like I can't fall off them like I used to. It just hurts too much.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'll ride other people's bikes. People always bringing stuff by and shit like that, and friends will pick up stuff. I'll ride other people's bikes, my fleet is done.
Mr. Kiwi, do they have lemon trees in New Zealand like in the movie? Well, first, yes, they have lemon trees. I'm not getting the connection on the movie. Which movie was that? Kiwi, have a paint question. Is there high quality compounds than the counter I worked in parts facility, and they use 3M? Look, 3M's really not bad. They have a 3-stage polishing compound, and I've used that a lot. It's pretty good. There are arguably some better ones out there. But I do say arguably, a lot of the guys that do a lot of buffing, have their pet preferences. But 3M's good stuff. Like I've used a lot of that, and there's some compounds out there now. One of them, I can't remember the brand name of it, unfortunately. But the grits in it starts off coarse, and like it's a single stage polish. It starts off coarse and it breaks down, and it becomes a finer compound. So you basically just keep buffing with it, and you end up does. I don't know that it's much quicker, but it does all 3 stages out of one bottle.
Less step, one less.
Yeah. So, but no, if you've got easy access to some 3M stuff, yeah, don't hesitate. I would use that.
Curtis Randolph, do you think shovel heads will go up in value? They're dirt cheap right now. Unfortunately, no. It's because the demographic that can appreciate a very heavy, bulky, leaky, prone kind of motorcycle is dying off, and they're not going to be replaced. There'll always be a small and niche market for it, but no, there are certain things like muscle cars, like classic muscle cars, will always hold their value. That's just the way it is, because they have a universal appeal. But you take a motorcycle like a shovel, any early bike, doesn't matter if it's American or Brit or anything like that. No, the demographic that bike appeals to is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and there are a fair number of them out there. They'll never be rare, so I don't see the prices going higher on them.
So, okay, Charlotte answered, the world's fastest Indian had the neighbour's son pee on his lemon tree while he was in America to make it healthy and produce the best lemons. Now that you mention it, I do remember that. Yes.
If you had a lemon tree, bro, I would piss on it every day for you because I'm that kind of friend. I'm that kind of friend.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even stop at the lemon tree. Do you have roses? What do you got? You're growing Brussels sprouts, whatever you're growing, bro. Count on me. I'll whiz on it every day.
John M. Kiwi, my weekly question: how is the Cougar Fastback going? Well, I did a video the other week doing the front wheel arch. Got to get back and finish the other side, and then we're jumping on to installing the forelink in the back of it. Now that we've got the rear wheel arches done, we can, and we've ordered a 9-inch for it, so we're waiting on the 9-inch arriving, and then we're going to set it up, put the forelink in it, and we'll have a video on that. Yeah, it's trucking along. It's getting there slowly but surely.
Throttle Davidson, the chopper barber scene is coming back around. I never really left, but again, you see, it's a very niche demographic. It's hard to. There's more available bikes and more available parts than there are people who are really into them and willing to dedicate what it takes to keep an older motorcycle, that type of bike going. I'm saying it's going to disappear. It'll always be there, but no, I do not see the value going higher. I wish I did. I love this stuff too.
IB Thunder, Kiwi, can you repair steering wheels with fiberglass resin?
He could do anything. He could do anything. He could repair with ramen.
Yes, you can. The question mark is the lifespan of the repair. Like, how long is it going to be till it cracks again? The steering wheels crack because the product that they use to make them is breaking down, and it's shrinking, and it'll continue to shrink, and it'll pull away from the resin repair given time and heat cycles. There is a couple of companies where they basically they strip all that resin type stuff off the steering wheel till it's back to its steel middle, and then they it's not really a coating, but reform it, with the original shapes and colouring and all that, and they do custom colouring and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of the company, but like if you Google, like old car steering wheel repairs, they'll pop up. But a repair on an existing cracked steering wheel is always going to be a temporary repair. It may last you a couple of years, it may last you a couple of months.
Stranger Sound, how did you get Kiwi to do lives? Was it blackmail, bribes, an offer you couldn't refuse? Soup. All you got to do is offer him soup. And he doesn't care what it is. Either split pea, chicken noodle, it doesn't make any difference. Offer him soup, he'll do literally anything. That's just between you and me.
I mean, see, as I recall, it was actually what happened was that Tony promised to stop stealing content and stop going through my trash cans in exchange for me coming and doing Thursday Night Live.
Well, yeah, my word is no good. Come on, Kiwi. Soup. Offer him soup. Anything. The guy will literally do anything.
Peter Kovacs, Kiwi, did you choose to specialise in Fords, or did that just happen? It kind of happened on its own. Look, I may have told this story to you guys before, but yeah, I opened the shop in 2012, I think it was, and had nothing to do. There was just this foreign guy showed up at a shop in Franklin, and nobody knew who he was or what he could do or anything like that. So I went looking for a project car and stumbled on a 66 Mustang on Craigslist, and here we are. So started working on the Mustang, and a few Mustang guys heard about it, and then a few more Mustang guys heard about it, and yeah, the rest is kind of history. If I think honestly, if I bought a Camaro, if I found a Camaro, like a cheap old clunky Camaro on Craigslist instead of a Mustang, I'd probably have a shop full of GM stuff, and I really don't mind. You know, GMs, Mopars, whatever.
Tula toilet and septic. Shovel heads will never gain the mystique of the pan heads or knuckle heads. The chopper barber guys have kind of settled on the Evo. See, that's the thing, right? Seriously, shovel heads and iron heads, it's like they're not worth the trouble. They're not unique enough, right? But yeah, exactly, right? A pan or a knuckle has that mystique that's worth the effort. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for the longest time, I rejected the Evo outright. And when the Twinkie came out, it was like that's the end of the world. Okay, I'm sticking with Jap bikes from now on, right? It's different now. Now all I want is Evos. I have no interest in anything that isn't an Evo.
Charlotte. No, they don't use road trains in New Zealand. The roads aren't big enough, basically. That's an Australian thing. The roads are too windy, too hilly.
That's a good question. I never thought of that. Can Mr. Kiwi power shift left-handed?
Yes, I can.
So, okay, so the H pattern, is it the same first, second, third, fourth?
Yep, exactly the same.
So power shifting second, how would you go?
Well, you just got to make sure you keep it to the left. You can't pull towards you when you're sitting on the right side. Well, actually, because you'd go first to fourth.
So your second or third shift.
It's more and the second to third you pull towards you. It's got that kind of movement to take it over to the right.
Yeah.
I mean, you soon get used like that. That's all I knew until I started driving left-hand drive cars. And that was tricky. Someone asked me the other day if the clutch, or someone the other day she swore blind that they knew that the clutch and accelerator pedals were reversed on a right-hand drive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was like bullshit. No, they're not. Like, no, they're not. Like, it's always right-hand accelerator, left-hand clutch. And that's the funny thing. That like the manufacturers will switch steering wheels from one side of the car to the other, but they take the rest of the stuff.
They won't orient it.
No, they don't. They don't flip it. Like they just move it across.
So, did they have Chrysler 4-speed cars in 1970? 1, 2, 3, 4.
In New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How did they do with the shifter now? Because the pistol grip is a right-hand. It's a right-hand grip. You couldn't, because it's got the thumb thing in it. So how did they do that on a left-hand drive or right-hand drive?
Don't quote me on this, but I think they use different transmissions. It was a 4-speed, but I don't think it was the 833.
So you guys didn't have the pistol grip shifter?
Not on the Mopar production stuff. No.
Okay.
No. It was more of a conventional, just a shift knob.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, unless it was an American-made one that was brought into Australia or New Zealand privately, you know. Kiwi, can you play left-handed? No, can't do anything with this. This hand is, you know, all it's good for is waving at Tony.
That was gay.
I know. He's not homophobic at all. Like he's rub his back and he's not.
I'm homo paranoid. It's a big difference. Terrence Seymour saying we didn't have pistol grip Mopar.
Yeah.
I was actually going to do a video. I am going to do a video specifically on the pistol grip shifter and all the different variations of it.
The pistol grip shifters were outlawed in New Zealand. Only outlaws would have pistol grips.
Well, the problem is if you've got a right-hand drive car, the handle in a pistol grip is shaped to the right hand. So if you go to shift it with the left hand, you've got a thumb indentation that's in the grip that wouldn't work. Like it would feel really weird to shift that with your left hand.
But there's funny little anomalies like that. When you get a left-hand drive car in New Zealand that's been converted, it puts like if you're a column change auto,
right?
The column change is still on the right-hand side. But if it's a New Zealand new car that's made right-hand drive or Australian, the column change is on the left. Column change auto is on the left.
Okay.
And the turn signals are on the other side. They turn the shifter and the turn signal around. No, that's weird. I don't ask me to explain why.
I'm-
But some powers that be just decided that was the way to do it.
I'm so poorly versed in, right-hand drive cars and whatnot.
Well, I mean, that's understandable here. You just don't see many of them. But it's funny going back to you get when I first got here, I was forever turning the wipers on instead of the turn signals because
Right.
they switched the wipers and turn signals around. So you go down the road and you go to turn right and you turn the wipers on. It's dry, the sun's out, and the wipers are going flat stick. It's a comedy of errors.
Is there any performance advantage to right-hand drive?
No,
I would think there might be a disadvantage.
only if you're not used to it.
Well, no. So the car wants to lift the left front wheel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So your weight, you got 200 pounds on the left side of the car. It's counterbalancing some of that torque. So I would imagine you would have a worse torque reaction if you sat on the opposite side of the car.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I didn't think of that.
That's why
right.
I
That's why
have 302,000
subs.
subs. Right, because I think of stuff like that, Kiwi.
He's a genius. And I know he doesn't look like it, but he really is.
I'm modest. What's on there? I've mostly raced quarter mile with a manual car. What's the proper way to do a burnout in the water box in automatic? Say a Duster with a 904. Put it in first gear, power brake it. I mean, if you're highfalutin and you got a line lock, set your line lock, right? But first gear, get it in the water, get the tires wet, just put the throttle like that, and then power brake it. First gear, as soon as your RPM comes up high enough that you can shift, upshift to second. Always upshift to second. Never finish your burnouts or allow your burnouts to end in first gear. So, and just keep going until keep your wheel speed up until the tires are hot enough.
Okay, here we go. J. Russell Finch. There were pistol grip shifters in Australia, but you won't find one. They were given up with the buyback scheme.
Oh, I have no idea what the buyback scheme was. That sounds like a nationwide scandal type of,
like a cash for clunkers type deal. I'm not sure.
Zero saying steering wheel is meant for the left-hand drive. Look at great cars and wear. Italian, German, now U.S. debate is over.
There you go.
Zero is the voice of reason through all of this insanity.
Are diesel cars big in New Zealand like in Europe? Yeah, they are fairly big, yeah. Kiwi, when did you want to come to the States as a youth? Man, very early age.
As soon as he read some of my magazines, he was like, I have to get to the States.
Look, I may have actually read some of your magazines.
Probably did.
Probably did. But yeah, no, as soon as I kind of discovered hot rods when I was probably 12 or 13, and
12 or 13, you were an old man when you discovered hot rods.
No, man, no. Oh, you got onto them younger than that?
Yeah, from like birth.
Did they have hit and miss engines in New Zealand? Yes, they did. Not a lot, but they did.
Someday I'm going to get hit and miss engine for the house. I would like to have a nice, ornate hit and miss engine to just put in the backyard.
Yeah, great bit of yard art.
Seriously, and it's got to run. So every once in a while, you fire it up and you piss off your neighbors.
Yeah, a little bit.
MAE made another Uncle Phony video. I don't know who made MAE. I don't know who that is. But excellent. The more videos, the better.
Okay, I may have misinterpreted that. I think Kiwi Australia gun buyback after the incidents. That was a big shooting they had, and they did a massive gun buyback. The government did.
See, every time there's a mass shooting in this country, we get more guns.
Yeah.
More guns. Bring them in.
Charlotte, do you like American rock and roll? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, ask Mrs. Kiwi about that. She goes, "Are you listening to that shit again?" She gives me a hard time about playing it at the workshop because the guys working there. She's like, "Do you make them listen to this all day?"
He's just like the Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls.
No,
He likes the boy bands.
the boy band. No.
Stacy Gaines Parham. Tony, how about building an H gas car for Southeast Gaskets using a Slant 6 from Plan Z? You know, I love what they do. I honestly do. I love what they do. But I'm not in a position to compete at that kind of level because that's not my business. And there aren't enough views involved. So in other words, like my business is YouTube. This is what I do for a living. Okay. So I have to do what gets the most views. And the amount of time and dedication that it takes to maintain a even remotely competitive race car and hit the races, it's not cost effective for me. If my operation was a little bit bigger, I had help here, yeah, in a heartbeat, I would do that. But I'm a one-man band, and I get more views when I do something that's on Mopar history or simple tech, universal tech, than I can get by going out and racing a car, and that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, J. Russell Finch, Kiwi was the joke. Yeah, I figured that out. It just took a while, man. I missed that one. Sorry.
Punk rock, Zero. You got it, baby.
Kiwi seems like an AC/DC guy. Yeah, really? A little bit, not so much. Honestly, I really like the old 50s, early 60s rock and roll. Only so much Little River Band a man can take. Yeah, well, there's some truth to that. Yep.
Jeff Hutchins, but the right rear tire loses traction first, so is the right-hand drive car better? I didn't think of that, but you're right about that. So you would be...
Yeah, you're ballasting that right rear tire.
You know what? Okay, he's right. So perhaps a right-hand drive car would be superior.
But I mean, we're talking strictly in drag racing.
Is there anything else?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid.
You know, turning right and left can be a lot of fun, you know, like if you kind of try it. Yeah.
I'm not into the whole alternative lifestyle thing, man. I mean, like, you know, the whole furry deal and road racing, and I just don't get that.
Name a good New Zealand band. Can you name a good New Zealand band?
I can't name anything right now. My brain is big.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Crowded House. And that was one of the Finn brothers who was in the original Split Ends band, which
Split Ends, I remember that band.
It wasn't really Split Ends. I wasn't such a Crowded House big fan. Split Ends, not quite so much. They were a little bit, not really punk, but a little bit out there. But the Finn brothers are a couple of very talented New Zealanders. Yeah. Flight of the Conchords. That's not a band. That's a couple of idiot comedians. People love the Flight of the Conchords, and I can't stand them. Like everyone in America loves Flight of the Conchords. Have you seen them?
I have no idea what
It's a couple of New Zealand comedians.
Okay.
And people think they're absolutely hysterical. And I guess it's just me, because I think, I can't watch them. They're like terrible. But people are, I've seen, they hear your accent and go, I've seen Flight of the Conchords. I know you. It's like, no, you don't.
Have you ever heard of Die, Die, Die?
No, I have not.
Where's my phone?
I don't know.
Hang on. Keep them going. I want to hear this band now. Where did I put my phone? Do I even have a phone? Oh, wait. Yeah.
Thraxto. Is it worth it to trade a 2012 Dodge Challenger RT for a roached out 69 Charger?
Let's see.
Ooh, depends how roached out, but 69 Chargers are bringing a lot of money, man. A lot of money, and whether they're worth it, that's a separate argument. But the fact is, they're fetching a lot of money.
Okay, Die. Sideways, here we come. Let's see.
One day, your favorite house is on
I hate ads.
Now all you need is redstone.
Kieran Seymour, I'm with you, man. I don't get them. Die. Oh, he's found them. Look at that.
Here come the copyright restrictions.
Oh, no. Stevie B, yeah, like a little bit of Zeppelin. Yep. Once for Warriors, New Zealand movie. Great movie. Fantastic movie.
I could listen to that. Vincent, the head is off my 302. What is the next step to finding the issue that is causing smoke to come from the valve covers? Your rings are shot, bro.
That's most likely what it is.
Yeah.
The smoke coming from the valve covers is crankcase blow by, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, compression getting past your rings.
Yep.
Burnt oil. And
You've already done half the job. Now drop the pan and knock the pistons up.
Strangest Highlander. Kiwi, do you think Anthony Hopkins did a good job playing Burt Munro? He did a stellar job, I would have to say. He had the accent down. And that whole movie, I mean, that was really accurate. It was a very accurate portrayal of New Zealand in that time zone. That was like people just making, he cast his own pistons in his little single one-car garage in the back of his house. And they did that shit because she couldn't get online and order a piston for it from America.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't a possibility. Kiwi, what made you settle down in Tennessee? That would be
soup.
Soup.
He heard about the soups we had here, and he was compelled. He swam over.
No, my wife, Mrs. Kiwi, she works in the medical field, in the corporate side, and Nashville is a bit of a hub for that type of thing. She got offered a very good job up here, so we followed the money, man. We followed the money. I was working at a hot rod shop down in Texas. So we followed the money with her, and that allowed me to kind of spend 6 months getting my shop up and running. And the rest is history.
Charlotte Collins says could have been a ruptured modulator valve causing the smoke. Yeah, but he's not complaining about the transmission upshifting at 80 miles an hour. So it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, lots of things can cause smoke, but there are other very definitive symptoms that would go with something like a ruptured modulator valve, and he didn't say anything about that.
Mexican speak. Yeah, there's not a lot of us. 4.5 million, I think, in New Zealand now, total.
Jose Galvin. Tony, what are your thoughts on Dutra exhaust and intake manifolds from Aussie Speed? I'm restoring a 65 Dark convertible and decided to keep the slant 6 instead of slamming my 318 into it. I mean, honestly, I don't see any performance difference. I don't see any performance advantage with the Dutra duals. There's no scavenging effect to them. So given that, I would say just stick with the stock intake manifold, or the exhaust manifold, I should say. The intake, what were you saying about? Well, the intake is open to what I don't know which manifold. The Aussie Speed makes a lot of manifolds. But I think that a nice 2 3/4 inch or so inside diameter exhaust system off the stock manifold, I think is going to give you as much performance as you're going to get without an actual long tube header to give you scavenging. Seymour Dollars. Uncle Tony, can crankcase pressure cause a rear main or oil pan leak at the rear? Yes, it absolutely can.
Yep. Zero. Seen the bike clone of the Indian. You can't imagine until you stood over it how badass Bert was. He really was. He was a very clever man. And John Britton. I mean, Zero, if you're into the bikes, you must have heard about the Britton. That's a fantastic story. Anyone who's interested in bikes should either know about John Britton or should make a point of finding out about John Britton.
David Fernandez, Tony, is there a comparable 6-cylinder to the G4 with torque and longevity, etc.? Bro, all the manufacturers made really good inline sixes. The closest one, from what I can gather, just from what I see and I can gather, the closest relative to the 4.0 is the Hemi, the Australian Hemi, the 265, or the 245, 265. It's like it's the same exact engine but with canted valves. That's the only way because I've looked at as much information as I could, and they seem to be extremely close, with that one exception, the canted valves. Dude, look what time it is.
It is, well, yes, almost time's up. Who would win in an arm wrestling match, Kiwi or Tony?
I guess we're going to find out.
Oh dear.
I'm going to say I'm going to.
We might have to wait till next week so Tony can have time to compile a list of excuses. Like
no, I'm going to puss out right now. I've been wrestling with that car and all kinds of other things. I am shot.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Kiwi would slam me right now.
Well, oh, okay, there you
go. Wayne Kerr, what's up, Uncle Tony? Just got a simple question. 84 Bronco, 302 carburetor, keeps dying when put into gear. Could it be timing? Yes.
Yep. Could be could be a few different things, but timing's one of them.
Vacuum leak or timing would be my most likely. Miles, have you driven a non-power assist rack in a 65 Mustang conversion from TCI? Are they difficult to drive?
Read that again. Okay, first of all, I would not put in a TCI rack conversion.
Ever.
It fits, but it's been shoehorned in there, and there really isn't the space for it. So it is. Yes, it works. Does it work well? No. Short answer. I've driven a couple of them. The universal joints are on such a severe. Like I think the most you can put degrees is like about 30 degrees on the universal joint. I think it's 30 or 40, and they're at like. If it's a 40 degrees, they're at 39, and it's lumpy to turn, and like when you get right in straight ahead, like you feel it go, and then you turn the other way and go, as it kind of almost gets into a bind in the universal joint.
Okay.
There's just not enough. It's in the wrong place. It's just wrong.
Good answer. See, there's a detailed. But then again, wouldn't that really depend on the construction of the car, like where in the angle of the steering column in relation to?
Well, he's talking about specifically a Mustang.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 65 Mustang.
Gotcha.
Version from TCI.
Gotcha.
Get the Borgeson steering box. Like, I mean, in an ideal world, you get the Mustang 2 style front suspension where you delete the shock towers and put the double A arms in. And the rack and pinion, the front mounted rack and pinion, that's the holy grail kind of thing. As an in between, like ditch the TCI rack and pinion and put in a Borgeson steering box. It's a little bit quicker ratio. It's nowhere near as vague as the original Mustang steering. It's not quite a rack and pinion, but it's $850. So it's for that money, it's a big improvement.
Jeffrey Lemons, Uncle Tony, can you use stock pistons on a stroke or crank? Impossible question to answer because there's so many different varieties and mix and match combinations that you could possibly use. I mean, you can put a stroke or crank in and then use stock piston, but with a shorter rod. There's so many different possibilities with that. Impossible to answer. You need to pin it down to the exact engine that you're going to use, the exact stroker you're going to use, and then figure out what pistons and rods and whatnot are going to work.
Yeah, I do know some stroke kits do use a stock piston.
Yes.
Certainly not all of them.
But you have to give someplace.
Yeah.
So like for instance, if you're adding a 1/4 inch stroke, that's raising the piston 125 thousandths, an eighth of an inch.
Yeah.
Well, you have to take, unless the piston's already that far down the hole and you're just going to bring it to zero deck, you have to do something to compensate, like use a shorter rod.
And then it's a balance of how short the connecting rod is versus the stroke, and
right.
Rod ratio and stuff that is quite important. That's why I'm more of a fan of, like in the Fords, the 331 stroker is in my opinion, a lot better combo than the 347. The 347, the stroke's a bit long and the rods are a bit short. Anyone who owns a 347 will not agree with me, but that's okay. I've driven both on multiple different engines, and the 331 is what I would call, with that rod ratio that they have, they're a happy engine. They're a happier engine. You just rev it out through the gears, and it's like the engine's just willing. The 347's kind of angry. It's like harsh. It's like, and you're like, oh god, when's the next gear?
David Fernandez, Tony, would you ever consider driving a Crown Vic? I've driven several Crown Vics. Okay, hey, look what time it is, Kiwi.
Yeah, it's getting
2 hours. We're up for 2 hours and 4 seconds.
Seconds? Oh, look at that.
And we only got 170 likes. I'm telling you, bro, it used to be all about you, and now it's like that number tells you right there. Your popularity is waning.
It's waning. What do you do?
Hey.
I might have to try doing the show pantless.
Who? No, do not do the show pant. No, you know I'm homophobic. Homo-paranoid. Of course, I have gay friends and stuff like that. So, but I'm still homo-paranoid. It doesn't mean I always tell them, oh, you're gay, don't touch me, and then that's it. We're good.
That's not offensive at all.
It's not. It's not.
Because all gay men lust after you, Tony, right?
Nothing is offensive if you're straightforward with it.
Well, who is that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Nobody will ever take offense if you look them square in the eye and you're sincere about what you're saying, and there's no hate in your voice. See, that's the difference.
Well, true.
Right?
Yep.
You keep the hate out of it, and you can say anything to anybody, and they'll respect you for it. All right. So,
Kiwi in a kilt with the bagpipes. Yeah, that ain't happening.
All right.
I'd rather be pantsless and wear a skirt.
Bad imagery. All the way around, just bad imagery. All right, guys, our mods, Zero, Fubar,
Thank
Ari.
you, guys.
Guys, thank you so much. Go
Thanks
subscribe.
for all your questions. And
Yes. And Kiwi's channel is struggling, as always. He needs help. He needs all the help he can get. So go over there and subscribe. It's a pity subscription. What can I tell you? You know what I mean? It's like, just do it because you want to be good. You have to make up for like really stupid things you did when you were like 14. You want to make up for it now. Go sub to Kiwi's channel. And I'm telling you, the universe will just turn all the shit around. Karma will be cleansed.
There you go.
So yeah, the definitely the sympathy sub.
Tavo, you just got here, mate. That's a bit late.
You're
not been working, have you? He's Australian, They don't work a lot.
They don't. All right. So go over there, sub to him. Everybody contribute with Super Chat. Thank you so much. Always appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. Everybody contribute with just your presence and your conversation. Thank you for being part of our world here.
Indeed. Well said.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes. And I said, anything interesting coming up on your channel? I hope. I mean, come on.
I've got a couple of interesting things coming in next week.
Excellent.
So yeah.
All right, I'll come and steal one. All right, guys, that's it. I'm hitting the goodbye button. There's end stream and make it stop.
Make it stop.
No.
See ya.